Hi guys, my name is Alana Anderson and I read a journal article about a functional analysis on arranging and ordering individuals with autism. Um, this journal article was really interesting for me to read because it used a lot of words that I hadn't really understood, so I had to use my dictionary and look up words, and it was a really challenging article, but it was really beneficial to understanding how a functional analysis would work in a situation. And it was exciting reading about the study and seeing the results and how they came about. So I am excited to share a little bit about what I learned from the article. It was a really interesting read. It focused on the research of what the cause is on restricted and repetitive behaviors. So, like most of us know, autistic behaviors may be caused by um, negative outcomes, just as negative outcomes cause us to have normal behaviors as well. We might get upset or frustrated, but those with autism might take it out in a way that's exposed differently because they can't communicate the way that we do. So it may be caused by negative outcomes or interference in schedule or in different social consequences. So this article talks about the results of the functional analysis procedure, and it's a study on 3 individuals with an autism spectrum disorder. Um, One of the researchers in the article suggested dividing the behavior into higher level and lower level classes, just to help us understand it better. According to him, a higher level restricted and repetitive behavior includes complex behaviors such as preoccupation with serial numbers or electronics, or obsessive routines such as dressing, eating, or playing in a particular pattern. Um, so this is kind of like OCD. You're just obsessed with things being the same way. Um, and so whether that's needing to dress similar every day or being obsessed with reading something every day, something under that category. Lower level restricted and repetitive behavior would include repetitive motion such as flapping and spinning things and banging things. People would hypothesize that this behavior is due to a need for the same thing happening each day. So the need for a routine or something similar to that. And that comes from not wanting to be flexible to change. So researchers developed this functional analysis to test behavior sensitivity to these 3 main types of reinforcement. We learned about these reinforcements in our class in EEX 4601. We learned that social positives is where desired behavior is increased through the use of rewards. We also use that we learn that social negatives occur when something already present is removed as a result of the person's behavior. And we learn that automatic reinforcement is the act of engaging in a behavior that provides the desired environmental change. The 3 participants who were in this study were all students. The first one was Jim, who is a 15-year-old boy. The teachers reported that his behavior was difficult to interrupt or redirect, and that this behavior made it difficult for them to complete work with him because he would sometimes push his teacher out of the way in order to arrange and order items in the classroom. Ross was a 13-year-old boy who obsessively straightened and organized items. He always fixed anything out of place, and this caused delays, not only for him but for the whole class when they were transitioning to the next activity. And he would usually throw tantrums or injure himself when someone would stop him from participating in this behavior. And lastly, the last person was a girl. Her name was Christy, and she was a 15-year-old girl who was also obsessed with arranging and ordering furniture in the classroom, which could become dangerous for not only her but others because the way that she would place her furniture, it wouldn't be stable, or it may be stacked on top of each other, and it could easily fall down and injure her or another student in the classroom. So the data was collected on arranging and ordering, which this is defined by the article as moving objects from one location to another. And data was also collected on completeness, which from the article was defined as closing drawers, closing books, and placing tops on containers. The data in the article was summarized as percentage and duration per session, and frequency data was summarized as response per minute. And as we've learned before in previous classes, this type of information is important if we're going to make a graph, which a graph actually was present in the article that I read. They then divided the frequency of the target response in a session by the total number of minutes in a session, which there was 10 minutes for each session, and I believe there were 7 sessions from what I remember. They began the study by gathering information regarding students' interests and then took that information to arrange how the experiment was going to happen. I remember learning in class that functional analysis is a strategy of manipulating the student's environment and observing the effect of the student's behavior. So I was pretty interested as I was reading to find out how and where the analysis would end up taking place. The setting in which the analysis was performed was different for each participant. Sessions for Jim and Ross were conducted in session rooms. Each of the session rooms contained a desk, 2 chairs, trash bins, drawers, several notebooks and magazines, mixed-matched cups, silverware trays that were unorganized, a whole bunch of academic materials. Items in the room were usually mismatched or placed outside of order or outside of their bins, and this was done to allow multiple opportunities to arrange and complete items in the classroom. For Ross, they added enough items to the trash bin to fill it to the rim, and then they had loose threads placed on various parts of the experimenter's clothing and a plant because he was known to arrange plants. Sessions for Christine were conducted in the living room of her residence. The room contained a locked TV cabinet, 2 couches, an end table, a wooden desk and chair, 2 bookshelves, 2 locked cabinets, a treadmill, a table with various items on it, just a bunch of furniture, because that was what her obsessive tendency was to arrange all this furniture, so that's what they provided in her setup. And also, I remember the article talking about how videos were played on the TV during all sessions to approximate conditions under which arranging and ordering occurred in naturalistic observation. So they wanted it to be kind of a natural setting, and they didn't want it to be, they didn't want the kids to feel the pressure of like, we're watching them only. So with the TV playing in the background, it kind of distracted the tendency to think that way. The article did not mention, however, functional analyses usually focus on if there's a pattern that comes before the behavior, pattern of occurrence, or if there's a pattern of events that comes after the behavior, or if there is a way the student can be taught differently to accomplish the same function as the inappropriate behavior. So I was keeping this in mind as I was reading the article because knowing knowing background about functional analysis like we learned in class is beneficial to reading this article because it wasn't really an article to teach, it was just an article that was assuming that you knew this stuff already, which was helpful that it was after a class where we reviewed a lot about functional analysis and how that works in the previous class. So 3 test conditions and a control condition took place in this study. The 3 test conditions were attention, escape, and no interaction. In the attention conditions for Ross and Jim, 2 items were available while the experimenter pretended to be occupied reading a magazine. Attention for Christine involved vocal reprimands and concerned statements such as like, Christine, stop, or things like that. So I learned from this article also that escape is actually the most common variable for other problem behavior of individuals with developmental disabilities. In Jim and Ross setting, an escape condition was included to identify whether the target behavior was to postpone or to terminate the activity. In Christine's situation, to make sure there was an opportunity to arrange furniture, they included escape that allowed Christine to move around the room, such as physical education and different cleanup tasks. In the control condition, attention was delivered every 30 seconds and based upon request for attention. However, if a target behavior occurred immediately prior to a scheduled attention delivery, the attention was then delayed for another 5 seconds. Now I want to talk a little bit about, now that you know like the setup of kind of what the analysis looked like, I want to talk about the results in the best way that I can explain it over video. But Jim's level of response were on and off throughout basically the whole session. So this made them assume that his arranging and ordering was maintained by automatic reinforcement. Ross's levels of arranging and ordering was higher when there was no interaction and escape conditions. So this continued throughout the whole entire analysis, which means that his arranging and ordering was also automatic reinforcement, but it was also caused by escape from demands as well. And results from functional analysis were used to develop treatments for each of the 3 participants. So then they took the treatments and applied them in a second analysis that took place in the article. So in the second analysis, Jim and Christine were conducted in the same room as their first one. Ross, however, was conducted in a recreational room of his residence, but the arrangement of materials were similar to ones from the previous analysis. From Jim's second analysis, they discovered that it is possible that item engagement avoided him from participating in his obsessive behavior. From Ross's second analysis, they acknowledged that his obsession is definitely an automatic reinforcement. However, the process that is responsible for the way he reacts still remains unknown from both of the analyses that took place. Christine's results suggested that product extinction, so no furniture available, is necessary for maintaining low levels of arranging and ordering. So I guess in Christine's situation, like, it's just best to avoid putting a lot of furniture in the classroom because from the study, the most that they can get is the less amount of items she has, the less amount of organizing she has to do. So as a teacher, I would just make sure that that there's not much furniture in there, and if so, it's furniture that is safe and available to move in a safe way. Based on the study, for all 3 of the participants, their arranging and ordering was found to be maintained by automatic reinforcement. I hope that made sense. I really enjoyed this article because although it was difficult to read and understand and explain even, it gave me an in-depth look of the different steps it takes to perform a functional analysis on students. It also taught me that just because you perform a study like this one, it does not always mean that you'll discover a reasoning behind why your student is doing something. I think in this class I'm learning a lot, but I also feel like a pressure to kind of know exactly what the cause of each behavior is, and so it was comforting to read this professional article and see that for some of the students, they still don't really understand where the behavior is coming from. It may take time and it may take multiple different studies based upon each one that is performed to discover a result. So I hope you learned something from my summary of the article, and if you ever wanted to read it, you can look up functional analysis and treatment of arranging and ordering by individuals with an autism spectrum disorder. So thanks for listening to me, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.